What is the dark web? It's something you probably heard about after that big Medibank data breach where nearly 10 million Australians had their data stolen, and the dark web was where some of it was published and offered for sale. But for the most part, not many people really know what the dark web is or what actually goes on there. The dark web is a corner of the internet that isn't indexed by any search engines, or in other words, is inaccessible via any normal means, like Google or Bing, if anybody actually uses that. Before we get into it, it's important to point out the difference between the dark web and the deep web. Those two terms are sometimes used interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. The deep web is anything that's blocked by a paywall, password, or private link. Think bank accounts or email accounts. Experts reckon that most of the internet is deep web, somewhere in the realm of 90% of it, and only a very tiny amount is clear web, or the normal internet that we all know and that's accessible through a normal search engine. The dark web is said to make up somewhere around 5%, but nobody really knows for sure.
I think it's probably really hard to understand the size of the dark web, and that is predominantly because we don't have a means to actually go and search through all of it and look through all of it.
Many people think of the dark web as a hub for criminal activity because, well, it kinda is. In 2015, researchers from King's College in London found that 57% of 2,723 live dark web sites hosted illicit material. And more recent studies have suggested that that percentage has only risen. But it's not actually illegal to access the dark web. All you need is a specialized browser that directs traffic through multiple servers, or nodes, operated by different people around the globe, and encrypts it, making it almost completely untraceable.
So that's the theory, and although each of them knows a little bit of the puzzle, they don't individually know enough of the puzzle to link me and the person I was communicating with.
Because of this privacy, it is an ideal stomping ground for criminals and mischievous activity. Pretty much everything from illegal weapons, credit card numbers, counterfeit money, hacking software, to a lifetime Netflix premium account, or even a service that offers to fill someone's house with garden gnomes. I'm not joking. It's all on the dark web. But despite there being plenty of dodgy dealings on the dark web, it does also have some completely legitimate uses too.
It came out of the US Navy, actually, believe it or not. The reason it was designed was to protect political dissidents in authoritarian countries. So people doing things that are illegal, but which we in democratic nations would support. For example, LGBTIQ activists in conservative countries, pro-democracy activists in authoritarian countries, feminists in misogynist countries, right? The list of people who have something to say is long.
The other benefit as well that we see with the dark web is often where we see people like whistleblowers try to provide information to organisations like yourself, like media outlets, and it provides them a way of having a level of privacy when they do things like provide whistleblower information as well. So it's important that although we see lots of the dark web in the news and in the media often being used for more criminal-based activities, there is also this sort of positive side to it as well.
And there's a bunch of companies we all know, like Facebook, BBC News, the New York Times, and even the CIA, who all have a presence on the dark web. But there's no getting away from what's out there that none of us should have access to, including the recently dumped data of millions of Aussies. The hackers responsible for the Medibank breach dumped what's thought to be all the files they stole in November 2022 on a dark web forum.
When your data ends up on the dark web, I think you need to assume that that is available to anyone with access to a computer and a bit of IT knowledge. Often what happens is that not only is this data posted publicly, but also we'll often see those organised crime groups try to share or sell that data to other organised crime groups as well. The challenge with us as individuals is it's become so commonplace just to share that information, to do things like share our driver's license details or our credit card details. And I think it is important for us as individuals to be really conscious about what we do with that data and who we hand that data to as well.
So while the dark web isn't all dark, you still want to do everything you can to make sure your data doesn't end up there. That's my driver's license.